right, let's call the meeting to order. Dawn, can you call the roll, please?
Of course. Wendy Clark,
Here.
Heidi DeWinkert,
Here.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Here.
oh,
Sorry,
thank you.
I was
Nope,
on mute.
you're fine. Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Here.
Matt Puglisi, Lisa Tepper Bates, Greg Ugalde.
Here.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. First up on our agenda is the resolution regarding financing for 240 Deming, which is located in South Windsor, to be presented by Stevens.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Yeah, so for 240 Deming, the ask for financing is three separate loans. The first one being a construction only loan for approximately $10,500,000 coming from taxable bonds at an interest rate not to exceed 6.8%. The loan term would be for 24 months. The second loan would be a construction and permanent loan of approximately $5,300,000 coming from taxable bonds as well. The loan term will be 37 years and it'll be amortized over 40 years. And then lastly is a cash flow loan from the opportunity funds of approximately $1 million at a rate not to exceed 1%. That loan term will also be 37 years. The total loan amount for all three is not to exceed $16,800,000. Going into the development summary and also the income restrictions as well, 240 Deming received an award of 9% low-income housing tax credits in 2025. So it's one of the first to be awarded to go to the board. The development will be a new construction, mixed income rental community consisting of 55 units and 5 two-story buildings on approximately 6 acres in South Windsor, which is a very high opportunity area. Going to the units, of the 55 units, 44 are LIHTC qualified units and 11 are market rate units. 11 units will be at or below 30% AMI. 22 units will be at or below 50% AMI, and 11 units will be at or below 80% AMI. The remaining 11 units, as I mentioned, are market rate units. Of the 55 units, 25 will be one-bedroom units and 30 will be two-bedroom units. And also 13 supportive housing units for intellectually disabled clients of the Department of Development Services will be there. And also supportive housing units will benefit from rental subsidies through the state rental assistance program. Also going into some of the costs, the total development costs are $24,623,000, which is $447,704 per unit. All total construction hard costs are $14,935,000, and that is $271,000 per unit. So it's very modestly priced when compared to other developments. And some other sources outside of CHFA and LIHTC are DOH funding of $5,500,000, the deferred developer fee of $906,000, developer loan of $600,000, and then also energy rebates of $119,000. Additionally, there's approximately 1.14 acres of the site that's currently occupied by a former church that will be demolished. It is not part of the approved site plan. So 1.14 acres will be subdivided into a new standalone parcel, which will have a conservation easement plan placed over it. Additionally, and there's also a 0.36 acres of an abutting parcel, which is owned by affiliate of the owner, which is Berry Patch 2 Associates LLP. That will be acquired by 240 Deming. And that will require a partial release of the CHFA mortgage for Berry Patch 2. Going to the developer, it is Metro Realty Group, which is Jeff Sager's group. So we have extensive experience with him and a very positive track record. Overall, the developer currently has 20 active developments, which includes 80 South and 1600 New Britain Avenue. All the properties are well maintained or in LIHTC program compliance. There's no delinquency or outstanding issues with any projects. And in terms of timing, the proposed closing construction starting date will be in the fourth quarter of 2025. So it'll be a pretty quick turnaround, if approved, for construction to begin. And then the proposed construction completion date will be in the second quarter of 2027. Then lastly, just to kind of go into some other considerations, the Department of Housing is providing $5,500,000 in state bond fund financing. The property will remain affordable for 50 years. The developer is contributing significant equity to the project through a sponsor loan. They will benefit from a full-time resident service coordinator who will be on site and have their own office. And then lastly, the proposed development aligns with the town of South Windsor's existing plan of conservation and development. And the only condition is we're just awaiting the executed DOH term sheets. Do you have any questions?
So
I have a question on the developer loan and the deferred fee. Sorry, trying to catch up on lunch. Sorry, I'm off camera. How does that work? Because you referred to it as a loan, and then I think I also heard that there's equity.
Mhm.
So at what point would they be paid either the fee or repaid the loan?
So the developer fee would be paid through available cash flow, and then the loan, I believe as well, for any available cash flow, they'll start paying down that loan.
Yeah, Wendy, so there's two portions of the developer fee. There's a cash fee that gets paid out during the construction period, and that comes from all the various sources. It usually gets a little back-ended with the last contribution of equity. And then there's a deferred fee, which gets paid, typically it has to be paid within 15 years from available cash flow. And then the GP loan will get paid out of that same waterfall. But it usually comes after, they'll usually get paid after the deferred developer fee gets collected.
And for cash flow, you would have to account for all of the repayments of the loans above it. I guess it's
Correct.
net.
Yes,
And any property management that has been scheduled into.
Yes.
Okay, got
yeah,
it.
there's a calculation. So the actual, what we call adjusted cash flow is post operating expenses. So all your operating expenses will come out first, all of your debt obligations will come out first, and then what's left over is what we consider, that's simplified. We have what's considered adjustable cash flow. Some, you might have heard the term surplus cash. That then goes to address your deferred developer fee. And then once the deferred developer fee is retired, then there's another waterfall where it gets paid to outstanding, we'll get 25% against our opportunity fund loan, and then the GP loan will get paid, and there's an agreement between the LP and the GP as to what the waterfall is, but that's all very, very back end.
Got it. Thank you.
Sure.
But this is the same developer who we're going to talk about later, right? Where
Correct.
we're going to do interest only. So that changes the whole calculation, right? There's no principal.
They're all, yeah, that's on that deal. That's a modification of deals that are I think that they're between 19 and 26 years mature. Those were all loans that were closed in 2001 through 2007. So
Not this one.
not this one. This
Not
is
this
a brand, this is a brand
Brand
new. This
new.
was just actually awarded 2025
Right.
9% credit. So
Right.
this will be the first of our 2025 credits that closes and begins construction. So this is brand new. What we're going to
Okay.
talk about later is an
Old
existing
ones.
portfolio. Yeah, they're
Okay.
old loans like us.
So there's 6 acres here. So what's the plan? I mean, they got a church, they're gonna tear down. There's got to be a story here.
Correct. Yeah, there's a church, so that's being torn down. I think that's part of that 1.14 acres. That's going to be
Mhm.
conservation easement, and that's basically just I think there was some pushback with the residents, so that's basically to appease the residents to have that open land that provides extra property between what will be the development and the
Mhm.
the neighboring homes.
Hmm.
And then the 0.36 acres abutting, which is part of Berry Patch. I think for zoning purposes that was
Yeah.
done. It was
Yeah, that's-
also it basically by adding that 0.36, it makes it a proper triangle for the site plan. So it adds some extra. It was more desirable for 240 Deming for them to do that. I think there was some additional land
So,
that
so Steve, just
bring-
to follow up on that, Heidi, I had the same question. So is the total number of units though that we can expect from 1 and 2, is it the 55 or is there potential to get more units?
Exactly.
for 240 Deming, it's just going to be
55.
55 units.
On 6 acres,
Well,
Cor-
yes, including the conservation space.
including an acre
Yeah.
plus
Yeah,
conservation.
if you look at the picture
Mhm.
on one of the attachments, you'll see that these are sort of townhouse. They all have separate entrances. So off-street access, so you have a door, you walk right into your unit. So that's the same for everyone. These are up and downs.
Mhm.
And so they take up a little bit more space because we're not talking 4-story, 5-story, low-rise construction. And so over the entire 5 acres, you're going to have the 55 units.
Okay. Okay. And the price per unit, as you pointed out, Steve, is a little bit less than what we've been seeing, which is kind of nice.
Correct.
But
Yes.
there's
Yep.
no elevators. It's just walk up, I assume.
It is just
Correct.
walk up.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Concerns? I know we have a long history with the developer, which is great. And it's looks like a terrific area.
Absolutely. Yep. It's very close to Evergreen Walk, and so it's
Yeah.
walkable to like Target and
Right.
Evergreen Walk itself.
Yeah, good. Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve?
Thanks, Greg. Is there a second? I'll
Second,
second. Thanks, Wendy. All right, Don?
Wendy Clark,
yes.
Heidi DeWingart,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Aye.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi, Lisa Tepper Bates, Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
Okay,
Vote passes.
thank you. Okay, next up on our agenda is the financing for Horizon View, which is located in Montville and to be presented by Trayvon.
Hello.
Hello.
So the board action for Montville is to approve taxable bonds, permanent only, and amount approximate 5.8 million with a rate not to exceed 7.67 with a 40-year AM and a 35-year term. And opportunity funds in the amount of approximately $1 million with the rate not to exceed 1%, interest only period for 24 months. So Horizon View was a 2025 9% LIHTC awardee and will be a mixed income rental community consisting of 57 units in a moderate opportunity area. According to the Affordable Housing Appeals List, Montville is a town with only 5.21% affordable housing. The current site is vacant, 3.36 acres on Route 32. The proposed closing and construction start dates will be fourth quarter of 2025, and the proposed construction completion date will be first quarter 2027. The developer on this project is Honeycomb Real Estate, and they've recently worked with CHFA on a few 4% LIHTC deals that just recently closed in the last few years. Going into the rent structure, 25 units will be 1 bedroom, 10 at 30%, 5 at 50%, 4 at 60%, and 6 at 120% AMI, and 32 units will be 2 bedrooms. 2 of those units will be 30%, 18 will be 50% AMI, 6 units will be 60% AMI, and 6 units will be 120% of AMI. 12 units, 10 1-bedroom, and 2 2-bedroom units will be designated as supportive housing, funded through the Department of Developmental Services. The 12 supportive housing units will benefit from rental subsidies from the State of Connecticut Rental Assistance Program. Other considerations, the proposed development aligns with the town of Montville's existing plan of conservation and development. The mayor and state senator have provided letters of support for this development. It will remain affordable for 50 years. They will also benefit from a full-time resident service coordinator on site. And a bus stop 0.1 mile away from the development will give residents access to public and private amenities nearby, which include stores and shops, schools, state park, public library, Yale New Haven Health Center, and Mohegan Sun Casino. Conditions that we are still currently waiting on, DOH review of procurement and GC contract and the DOH term sheet and the construction lender's hard commitment. Other sources other than the CHFA financing and 9% LIHTC proceeds, DOH state flex, 6 million, energy rebates, 123,000, deferred developer fee of 941,000. They have a GP loan of 207,000. And yep. Any questions?
Who's the construction lender? It's not us,
No, it's Citizens.
Citizens. Okay. Because they're charging less?
Are they the investor in this, Trevon?
I think I saw that.
Yeah.
They're purchasing the bonds.
Yeah, correct.
So
Okay.
Trayvon, when we talk about the items that are still open and outstanding, what's our policy? What can we leave open? And then when there are certain things just need to be signed or followed up on, what kind of time frame do you need to see everything done in?
Yeah, Greg, these are pretty immediate. If you look at the three conditions that we
Yeah.
have, there's really four conditions. Three. That's DOH's review of the GC contract and the procurement for that contract. That's a fairly standard process. The DOH term sheet, you saw it in the last one as well. That will come after we get the board approval and they finalize what they need out of DOH. And then the construction lender hard commitment, obviously, we're going to need that before we can move forward to closing on it. So these are just standard items. We're not coming to you guys with anything that we think is not going to be provided. And if it's not provided, it will kill the deal. So we're very confident in in the receipt of these conditions. It's just a matter of time. And if we were to wait for them, we would be putting additional time on these. Without an August board, we wouldn't be able to bring these till September, pushes the closing off. So we're trying to be very, very cautious with what we bring to both you and the board for conditions on these deals.
And DOH has been looking at these, so we're expecting the procurement and GC contract to be cleared up soon.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Anything, Trayvon, that worries you about this? The site is vacant, you said, but was there anything there, environmental issues?
Yeah, the environmental review is done. So yeah, no, I don't have any concerns.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
There were no areas of concern identified, and this developer just finished up a project in West Hartford that we went to a ribbon cutting. That's a beautiful project. Did some nice work, and we're very happy that this is in Montville in Eastern Connecticut with a 9% transaction.
Mhm.
It's a great
Check
project.
some boxes.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. If there's no other questions or comments, is there a motion?
Motion to approve?
Thanks, Greg. Is there a second?
Second it.
Thanks, Sayla. All right, Dawn?
Wendy Clark,
Yes.
Heidi DeWinger,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Yes.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi, Lisa Tepper Bates, Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, next up is, I guess, really modifications of financing for selected properties that we touched on that are being by Metro Realty. So there's a whole list of them, but I'll let Liz go into the details.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
This is a modification request, so the presentation and attachments are a little different from the first of two of today's presentations. This proposed modification is the result of the developer's request to prepay the mortgages on 6 properties. When we reached out to discuss the request, we discovered their focus was on the covenants, something they've mentioned for years. And these loans are very seasoned. They were originated in 2001 through 2007. So most of their monthly payment is principal, which is a taxable event for the developer. Now, earlier we discussed Metro. So Metro does have a long history of successful development properties. With CHFA, we have 20 properties currently in the portfolio. They're all paying as agreed and they're all well maintained. The Metro team is very transparent. They communicate, they follow the rules, and they're easy to work with. So this is a developer we'd like to keep on our books. And so we're proposing this modification to strengthen our relationship. So items 1 through 5 listed in the board action are the result of our conversation. These are the terms they can get from Freddie, Fannie, and other lenders. And they seem reasonable with limited risk to CHFA. In fact, the interest income increases by over $3 million with this proposal. And the projected loan to values are nice and low, and they range from 28 to 59%. The ACS team and I visited the properties, and they are just lovely. There were landscaping crews out at both properties when I was there. They're well maintained. However, they are older, and they will need significant CapEx in the coming years. Now, the developer believes he can self-fund much of this from this new deal, you know, paying IO and the surplus cash recapture. Those they can't self-fund, they will consider resyndicating. So we may have some syndication requests coming down the road, which will stagger the maturities of these 6 properties, which is better than all 10 maturing at once. So I will be happy to answer any questions.
So basically, we're relying on Metro Realty to, you know, just act appropriately, right? Maintain reserves, maintain the properties, but we've have a very long history, good track record with them, and they're not going anywhere.
No, they're not going anywhere, and they have very strong reserves already in place on these properties. I don't know if you've seen that, but we're talking hundreds of thousands at each property. And this is their affordable portfolio, and so they intend to maintain that as affordable going forward. This is really to help them avoid some tax creation by the repayment of principal, and sort of set Jeff up, unfortunately, for retirement.
Right.
As the years continue to click by. So, and again, as Liz said, since we're going back to IO and now we're going to have a full interest component rather than a major principal component in our payments, we're actually going to be making more money CHFA over the course of the next 10 years off of these properties. It's significant, about $3 million more, which will go into other programs. So all in all, and Jeff has been asking for this type of thing for a long time. And we feel that the timing is very, very ripe to make this happen.
So what's the level of affordability on these deals? Pat?
We've got some properties.
Roll down to the second page and you see
Yeah.
a chart. It
Yeah,
tells you the unit count and the qualified units.
Yeah, Berry Patch has 48 units between 0 and 25% AMI, and 46 units between 25 and 50. And then there's a smattering above that. So 94 of the units in those in Berry Patch 1 are below 50 AMI. When you look at most of their properties, it's very deeply targeted. Berry Patch.
So the affordability will go only up to the next 10 years?
No, the affordability is going to extend through the term of its existing extended use.
Which is how long? We didn't read the whole thing, so sorry.
No, that's okay. Some of them go to as far as 2043.
Yeah, see that. 37, 35.
Yeah,
36.
yeah, they'll all extend past that. And once we do, if we're able to do some resyndications or recapitalizations for them in the future, then obviously those affordability restrictions will get extended even further. That's ultimately our plan.
So is there succession planning? Sorry, Greg, hold on. succession planning, you said Jeff is ready to retire. Who's taking over?
His son and his daughter, I believe.
Daughter,
We-
yeah.
Daughter,
Yep.
Phoebe.
Daughter on this side, and we've dealt with, I think, his son on some of the other market rate product.
Okay, you're comfortable?
Yeah,
Okay, go
they're
ahead, Greg.
well schooled, Heidi.
Okay, good.
So this is an ideal situation to help get over the hurdles that you talked about. Curious as to other developers and entities that might be in a position to request something like this. And is this something that we're going to have as a program, or is it still going to be a onesie once in a while? Just how does the future look for, because this seems to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, we could use this as a tool going forward as part of our preservation, and we're working to put together a full preservation program going forward. But I don't see us like announcing this as a program. I also don't know of any other developers that we have that have this portfolio's characteristics in terms of its aging, in terms of its property condition, in terms of the amount of principal. This is because Metro has had a sustained relationship with us going back 30 years, so I don't know that we have other developers that haven't like stepped away from us for a while and come back and have these hiatuses. These are 6 properties developed in a relatively short span that have progressed in their life cycle similarly and are in a very similar situation right now. So this seems very unique in terms of providing this relief, but we obviously are open to this if it proves as successful as we think it will.
Well, I think to Greg's point, it's compelling from a developer standpoint, right? To eliminate some potential taxes. So I think it's for the right people, this is something we'd want to consider. We're not opposed, I guess.
So noted. That's nice to know.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anybody else? Liz, you got any concerns about this? I mean, I know it gets kind of defensive when you're negotiating against Fannie and Freddie and all of those big entities, but we're friendlier, right?
They do seem to appreciate us, so.
No, I'm serious. Yeah, they should.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a lot of work. Do you get a fee for this, or is it just goodwill?
Goodwill. We're treating it as a modification, so no fee.
Okay. All right.
And Heidi, we're not afraid of Fannie and Freddie.
Yeah, good. All right. All right. Anybody else? Any other comments, questions? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to approve the modifications?
This is Claudio, so moved.
Thanks, Claudio. I'll second it. Dawn?
I'm sorry, Wendy Clark,
Yes.
Heidi DeWinger,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Yes.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi, Lisa Tepper Bates, Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Next up on the agenda, I think is the minutes from our June 24th meeting. Any questions, comments, changes? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion to accept the minutes?
Thanks, Greg. I'll second it. Dawn?
Wendy Clark,
Abstain.
Heidi DeWinger,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Yes.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi, Lisa Tepper Bates, Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
The vote passes with 1 abstention.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, I think, is the home ownership report to be presented by Andrew.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the homeownership report covering our activity through the second quarter. Quick agenda here. We're going to talk about our reservation and first mortgage activity, talk about our top lenders, go over time to own and down payment assistance activity, and also talk about our demographics and geographic makeup through the first half of the year, and then also update those market share estimates we talked about way back in January. The next slide. In the second quarter, our reservation activity remained elevated with just north of 1,200 reservations received in the second quarter, which is slightly lower than the second quarter of 2024, just about 7.5% lower. That brings the total number of reservations that we received for 2025 to just under 2,200, and that's just about 5% lower than this time last year.
So why do you think, to interrupt, why do you think that is?
There's a couple different reasons, one of which we'll get into in a minute. But first and foremost, inventory remains low and prices are accelerating. So there's the issue of potentially first-time home buyers just being priced out in general, and that could be reflected in demand for our products.
Okay.
The next slide.
What's the second reason, Andrew?
What's that?
He's going to get to that later.
Oh, okay.
Don't steal his thunder.
Okay, fair enough.
So through the second quarter of this year, we've purchased just north of 1,800 loans, totaling just above $500 million. Median sales price was about $276,000 with a median interest rate of 6.5%. The next slide. So mentioned our total number of loans purchased this year. Obviously, compared to last year was a very historic year for the authority. We had our most loans purchased since 2007, with the highest dollar volume purchased on record, just over $1 billion purchased. You see here kind of our running total for the last 3 years. In orange, you have 2025. And you see we are just short of where we were in 2024, but well above or slightly above where we were in 2023. So we're still on pace to see a pretty a solid year overall. But I mentioned that total dollar volume. We have actually purchased more in total dollars relative to last year, in part because we're seeing higher loan volume or average loan amounts. That's reflected by both some changes to our programs, but also on the next slide, what we've seen market wide is medians overall sales prices continue to escalate. For CHFA specifically in the second quarter, a median sales price was $310,000. That's 10% higher than what we saw at this time last year. And then statewide, we saw for a single family home, this is from our Warren Home Group sales data that we maintain internally, we saw a median sales price of $450,000, which is the highest we've seen on record in the second quarter. And so really significant uptick in prices and a really pretty competitive market for first-time home buyers overall. And then just talk about our top lenders really quickly. First World continued to lead the way, issuing over 20% of our loans through the second quarter, followed by Total Mortgage, CMG, Movement, Homestead, and Prosperity Home. And then on the down payment assistance side, our DAP program, for the second quarter of this year, we purchased just south of 400 DAP loans, totaling about $4.4 million. These are separate from the time to own program on the next slide, where through the second quarter of this year, we provided time to own assistance to just under 1,300 borrowers, and that's about 14% lower again than this time last year, kind of following that similar trend that we're seeing for CHFA in the market as well. Quickly about race and ethnicity breakdown, just under through the second quarter of this year, just under half of our borrowers have been borrowers of color. That's a bit less than where we were this time last year. But if you go back to kind of pre-COVID years, we've seen a significant improvement in this area overall. The next slide. Geographic breakdown, this is similar to what we've seen in the past, where our kind of highest subscribers to our programs are areas in the kind of central part of the state, Hartford, East Hartford, Bristol, Waterbury, areas like that. Then on the next slide, a quick update to this market share methodology we introduced earlier this year. For those that either missed it or don't remember, the purpose of this methodology is to try to estimate our CHFA share amongst first-time home buyers in the state. So the way we do this is we take our total number of closings in a specific time or geography, divided by the total number of home sales, multiplied by 30%, which is on average what the National Association of Realtors estimates is the percentage of all sales that are going to first-time home buyers. The results of this methodology is what you see here, this data line. And in recent kind of quarters and years, we've seen that our market share amongst first-time home buyers is estimated to be anywhere between 20 to 30%. There's some variability here, but in the second quarter of this year, we made up an estimated 22% of first-time home buyers. That's ever so slightly down from the second quarter of last year, but still a significant uptick from, say, 2020 to 2022 in that time. The other thing that this methodology lets us do is look at our market share at the town level there. So this is estimating in these towns, what do we think our market share is amongst first-time home buyers in those areas? You see those darker green areas, we have significant share in, again, areas in the central part of the state, into kind of the Waterbury area. Also in the eastern part of the state as well, we see a significant market share there. And then we see kind of lacking market share along the shoreline and to the western part of the state, where home prices tend to be a bit higher and harder for, again, first-time home buyers to compete in those areas. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Well, I guess,
So Andrew, I just have a question comment. With the new program that we talked about earlier, the 10 million that we have for housing purchases, I'm wondering, when we look at those areas that we're down a bit in the programs, and we look at that percentage that were involved in first-time buyers, I'm wondering if we look at all that data, if we can find a couple touch points where 10 million, because 10 million is small to really try to circle the wagons and attack it like we're going to really be able to do something for the long haul. But yet, to see the legislature do anything like that is a good sign. So it would be nice if we could tweak a needle or two positively for when we try to get that reapproved or even upped in the future.
Right. You're referring to the Homes for CT program, correct?
Yeah, homes for CT, but also just in terms of down payments and just in terms of making money available for first-time buyers, or wherever we see that we were leaking a little bit over time, and just to see what we could do to fortify that and become, when we listen to Phil and people that talk about their lending to these first-time buyers, it's a tough market to find something that people can afford. And the way that you make up for it, Heidi mentioned it earlier, interest rates, but also in the amount of money available.
Right. Yeah, Greg, we'll take that into account while we're going to start formulating the backbone of that program over the next couple of weeks. We may even look to you for some contribution in terms of participation with the home builders. We're just starting to get that off the ground, but we can definitely use the data that we have on this Homes for CT side. But we can also, I would imagine Lisa can take a look at where we're kind of falling back on where our down payment or TTO programs are touching. So definitely.
Yeah, this is great data.
Oh, it is, absolutely.
We're also seeing unprecedented demand for the tax exempt, resources that we administer, which is primarily how we raise capital to provide a lower interest rate. And so I think we're seeing a little bit of relief, I think, on the multifamily side. Of course, our pipeline is ever longer. But in terms of like home ownership, we've had to kind of balance, if you will, between home ownership and multifamily, and then multifamily between new construction and preservation. So you're right. I mean, low cost capital is definitely like our sort of, I don't know what the word is, but like
superpower.
It's needed.
Right, that's it. It's our superpower.
It's our superpower. Yeah. That's better. Put a positive spin on it. But yeah, I mean, I think last year we had our down payment assistance program for people with student loan debt, and we were hopeful that maybe the state could take it up as a small program this year, but it didn't really get funded. But I think we'll keep working. I know Lisa has a couple ideas about expanding our volume in areas of the state perhaps with a non-first time home buyer program, but still
Yeah.
trying to, help households that may need assistance to move to their next home, because that's always
That's
the
right.
problem, right? You got to create that,
Right.
yeah.
Momentum.
Do we
Yeah.
have detail on the time to own program in terms of geographic disbursements or demographics?
Yeah,
We do, Wendy, yes, and I can get that to you, but there's also a public dashboard on our website as well with a map of that.
Great. If you can point me to that, that would be
Sure.
very helpful.
absolutely.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you. And finally on our agenda is the quarterly multifamily report to be presented by Yezi.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to start with our development spotlight. This quarter, we have the Monarch in New Haven, which consists of 4 contiguous parcels of land totaling 1.57 acres with 2 vacant slab-on-grade buildings constructed prior to the 1900s for various commercial uses, but most currently occupied by New England Linen Supply Company and a laundry operation. And if you look at the pictures down below, the pictures to the left is a picture of one of those buildings.
Mhm.
This redevelopment project includes the demolition of those structures, remediation of identified environmental issues, and building an affordable housing development, which is going to consist of 64 apartment units in one building, as well as amenity spaces. I'm just going to jump down to how many units. All 64 units are going to be LIHTC eligible. The breakdown is 14 units at 50% AMI, 46 units at 60% AMI, 4 units at 80% AMI, and the unit mix will be 21 one-bedroom units, 23 two-bedroom units, and 23 bedroom units. There's a number of amenities that are going to be built here, and that picture to the left is the rendering of what the project is going to be look like once it's completed. And right now, it's projected for a final closing of March of next year. If you go to the next slide. Here's our pipeline at a glance. You can see all the different projects that we have pending, whether it's pending initial close or final closing, our 9%, 4% SSHP. And if you scroll down a little bit, then you can see our HTCC, priority needs, and our build for CT. And here is our year-to-year comparison. So in blue, you have July of this year. In orange is July of last year. And you can see across the board, we're on trend this year. Everything has increased. And if you scroll down, thank you. Our news and insights for this quarter, all our ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings. Just the highlights here for you. Our staff, multifamily staff hosted a series of SSHP roundtables. 2 of the roundtables were held at properties in Colchester and Cheshire, and the 3rd was held at CHFA. Attendance was strong and the exchange of information and ideas was helpful to all who attended, and topics included funding opportunities, financial reporting, tenant profile submissions, and industry organizations. Our staff also presented at the 2025 virtual NEMA Connecticut Agency Forum, and the presentation included a CHFA multifamily asset management overview by the numbers, an introduction of how CHFA multifamily asset managers oversee the financial performance, physical condition, regulatory compliance, and affordability of the multifamily developments within our portfolios, and also provided resources for owners and property managers to access for more information regarding compliance and monitoring of multifamily properties in Connecticut. And then again, you could read at your leisure some of the other things that were attended by our staff. There are no smaller emergency loans this quarter. And we had a very busy quarter for closings. As you can see, we had 15 initial closings in April, May, and June, and 9 final closings. And then you have our 3-month look ahead of projects that will be coming to you guys. And lastly, we have an upcoming transaction. This is the homes at Avon Park. This is a redevelopment of an approximate 11.23 acre portion of an abandoned office park. And you can see the pictures of what it currently looks like. This is surrounded by woods, adjacent to the historic downtown, and a newly constructed retail and commercial development that includes a Whole Foods market, fitness facilities, and medical offices. 15 units will target households who will receive supportive services and rental subsidies from the Department of Development Services. It is in a very high opportunity area in a community with less than 10% affordable housing. And this project is part of a 4% and 9% hybrid structure that will create a total of 100 units. And there you can see the unit mixes for both the 4% and the 9%. And that is it. Any
So
questions?
that can't be easy, converting an office building into a residential.
No, but we're trying to see where we can make this work. Not all office buildings lend themselves to conversion, to easy conversion.
Right.
This one happens to be a fairly nice square. They're going to be getting some bigger units out of this as well. I think there's some 3, 4, and may even be a couple of 5-bedroom units in here.
Be interesting to see what the unit cost is.
We should have that. We can provide that to you.
Well, just when it comes, I mean, I just,
Yeah.
to me that, you know, renovating and converting, it can be more difficult, as you know, than ground
This
up.
was just about right. It was at one point it was 51% too expensive, and then it became 49%, right? So that we were able to move it forward. But at one point, the solution was going to be to demolish the
To
building.
take it down.
It would have been
Yeah.
a shame. It's a beautiful.
It is,
1970s
and it's a
office
great
building.
area too. I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
so something, it's perfect that it's there. 100 units is a good
Well,
yield for there
I want
too.
to clarify, because you got, as part of our approvals for the 9% round in 2025, there's 100 new units that are going to be built in the parking lot, and then there's this office building, which is an additional 58 units that's going to be built. So we're going to have a total of 158. And right now, Beacon is working on acquiring another piece of land. This is right across the street from the Whole Foods.
Yeah.
In fact, you can walk down the sidewalk, walk underneath the road, and you're in that plaza right across the street. That's how close it is.
Yeah.
So beautiful location, great site.
What's happening to all those tenants, I wonder? I mean, office space, it seems
It's
like
empty.
there's some, but
That's been empty for years.
oh, it's the part. Okay.
Yeah.
Because
it's-
there is
It was
still
foreclosed?
active.
Was
Oh,
it foreclosed?
No, not
No?
that I'm aware of. No, I don't think it was foreclosed.
Just abandoned?
Just abandoned, but this is just one parcel
Right.
in the office park. There's
Mhm.
still, Greg, there's still other
Yeah, now I'm with
active
you.
office
Okay.
buildings all up along the cul-de-sac. This is, I don't know if you're familiar with the area. You pull in, and it's the very first left turn that fronts on the road. I think it's a total of 20-something acres and various parcels. But I know that Beacon is working to acquire a parking structure that's there for the next phase, which it may be a built for CT deal. We've been talking to them about, or they may come back in and try to do it through tax credits, but just a great location and a great community. So,
And they already have lights there and the road structure, offices are on the right as you go down that road. Yeah, that's a good spot.
this building has beautiful mature pine trees in front of it that they're going to be able to salvage. So it'll be an interesting finish, because it's going to look like a very mature site when it's done. So it's very, very nice.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's all I had on the agenda. I don't know if anyone has anything else. Okay. Thank you. I guess we can get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thanks, Greg. Is there a second?
I'll second it. This is
Okay.
Claudio.
Thank you. All in favor? Say aye.
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 Thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Thank you, everybody. Good seeing you all.
See
Okay.
everybody Thursday.
Yep.
Thank you.